Who are the rainbow children? The rainbow children, the indigo children, the crystal kids, all of the children of the sun, okay? These are all the rainbow children, and there are more and more coming to earth today for these times. The rainbow children are a bridge that is connecting the divine heaven and earth, where there has been a really big disconnect. So far we have seen a lot of middlemen. This is pretty much where we're at now, where we have to go through a middleman for everything, which means we own nothing when it comes to our TV and the way the internet works and the way everything is set up has made it to where we own nothing. We only rent things and they can be taken away at any time. So what the rainbow children are and who they are a group of souls who are connected to the divine that come here to help others where there is a disconnect, connect you to your purpose or connect them to their purpose and what they came here to do, so that they are building in what we can call God's kingdom, but you get the idea, right? Where we are building in a way that you own what it is you are here to do and what you are here to create. So you have authority over it. The rainbow children are also are pretty much what the Bible is talking about. So all of the different seals are basically all of the different colors of the rainbow, what many might know also as chakras. However, they are attuned to all of them. So to the full rainbow, to the lower realms, to the higher realms, the heart, the sun, who we know as Jesus Christ, is the bridge between the two. So because they have access to that, to the heavens and the lower realms, they have jobs that can cover a lot of different things. And they are highly gifted and skilled and highly creative. What they are not connecting to the divine to tell people if that man or that woman is going to contact you again, or if they're going to come back into your life, or it's not witchcraft. It's not anything like that whatsoever. They are not here to do that. So if that would be very much the lower realm. That's not who the rainbow children are. They're incredibly gifted and incredibly creative, which means they think very much outside of the box. And the ways that we are going to be building businesses and life here on earth is going to require thinking outside of the box and thinking in ways of what people need. It is going to serve the people. They are in service to the people for God, to God's people. They're not in service of man. And that's where a really big difference is between the rainbow children and what we are building and what we have always known. That has been building in a way of selfish needs. When we were told there's not enough to go around for everybody, that we had to come here and rip people off. And for those that have businesses built in that, where you were told that there's not enough, you need to go on and see what the fastest way to make money is. No, you're here to live out your purpose. You're not here to come here and make money really fast and then just be free. That's not how freedom works. You're not free just because you have money. I have worked with incredibly, very well-off people, beyond well-off, and many are in God's purpose and some are not. Sometimes they're called to me in a time of transition, to recognize that what they have been building goes against their will of their soul. God, Jesus, the Son, that is your soul. That is where God is primarily within you and is expressed through all of yourselves and your life. So if you're going against your own will, you're going against God's will. And I can give you an example of somebody once that was sent to me, and who in her period of transition, where she came to truly recognize that she was at a major turning point in her life, is because she had just had, at first, let's put it this way, when I first got to her, I said, I know you probably don't I know you didn't know this when you booked with me, but I'm also a medium. And I'm starting to get, if it's your dad or somebody's coming through, that you're going to go through a transition right now where you're being called, I think, to get into what it is that you want to do and like what you're passionate about. But I didn't know anything behind that. And she told me that she just had like a hysterectomy. She just had all of her organs taken out because of endometriosis. But the thing about endometriosis is when you cut out the organs, that doesn't cure it. It doesn't stop it from growing. It continues to spread throughout the body. So you have to get to the root of that. And what happens when we go against our own will and imprison our own will for money? Because she told me that the work that she did, and she told me that she knew it was actually really bad. She told me that she knew that it wasn't healthy and it was ripping people off. She knew that it was against what was the right thing to do. And she said she made really good money and it paid. So she was being called to move into her purpose. What happens when you stop fighting against the will of you? You're not fighting God. God didn't come here. God didn't create anybody to come here and rip people off. And those who are doing that are disconnected. And some are not disconnected and doing bad things. Some people just do not have access to the divine. It's a very different lifestyle to be able to connect to the other side and connect to the reality. It's very difficult to live in a normal lifestyle in the ways that we have known it. And the rainbow children are the ones who came here, who are here to do that connection, that spiritual side of it, as well as building it into reality, which means they're also going to get paid for that spiritual work, for being able to connect others to that divine, to what they cannot see, to bring them closer to their truth, to God within, not for any other reason, not to, again, get information about other people or to try to gain something, because you are here of service. And those who are here of service know that they are going to gain, because when you are giving from God's will and you're connected to the Son, the eternal source of light and truth, you never run out of business. You never run out of offerings and gifts and things to give. And it'll always be returned. And the rainbow children know that. They will sacrifice and already have to understand how much we don't actually need those things, that is not what is going to fulfill you. You can have all the money in the world and live a very empty life. And what you put your power into, if it is outside of you, if it is in money or belongings or looks or beauty, anything that you think that you put outside of you that gives you power, that will be taken away from you, which means your source of power is going to be taken away from you, because that's not your source of power. That's not true power. And if these businesses that are going to be built are putting the power into your hands, and that means you have to be responsible with it. That means that you are going to be having other people's life in your hands in some sense or another. But again, they're very creative. Some are called simply to be artists, but a lot of the ways, this art is the creative arts in how we build. It's creative ways of doing things and of understanding life and getting the message across. This is not about building for selfish purposes. We all need each other here. We all need each other's gifts. Not one person is more important than the other. The rainbow children are incredibly gifted, and they are going to help remind you of who you are, where you come from, and of your gifts. So you know what you have to offer others that is going to help and be in service to others. There are many who would much better understand the Bible if they changed a little bit of their perspective on it and understood exactly how native the Bible is. And again, this is a native soul. And this is also why I always recommend getting a little more in touch with your spirit animal, because this has a lot to do with the tribes and where we come from, and your gifts and what you have to offer while you're here. And again, connecting to your people. The rainbow children and the children of the sun are the native souls. The native souls. It's a soul level thing. This isn't, and they show up in all different Fitzpatricks in all different cultures. They have been spread all across the continent. So you cannot recognize them by their external appearance. You cannot recognize them by external fruits alone, because we are here to gain the fruits of the Spirit. They show up in many different families, and they show up in all different ways and all different appearances. But the majority of them were brought here into families that were incredibly broken and also without a father, without a natural father, who learned to rely only on the Heavenly Father, which means they didn't have the support of a father to tell them how special they are, which also means that this grants the opportunity for a man or a woman or a business owner or somebody with money and not good intentions to come into their life and say, hey, I recognize you for your gifts. I recognize how beautiful your soul is. And then they try to use their gifts for their advantage to build for them in their way. And that's not what they're here for. So because they were not recognized for their gifts and for how special they were, and then realize it, now they have learned through all these hardships and all these hard times how to not only recognize this within themselves, but within all different people. Now they can recognize you for who you truly are, and they actually always have been able to. The rainbow children and the children of the sun are like walking lie detectors. Your tribe is a soul level thing, but the children of the sun are connected to all of the tribes, especially ones that they've already had experience with. So you can connect to anybody when you open your heart to that, when you open your heart to the sun, which I also have a meditation that I share with that comes with the Panther oil, which is about connecting to your identity. When it comes to connecting to the identity, which has been a really big part of my purpose here, and connecting to the sun is your identity. Your name tells so much, and it always actually does come back to something in the Bible and in the land and the history and your purpose here. Your name is the song of God. Your Christed name is a song. It holds a vibration and a frequency that creates your map. I wish more people understood how much your map is on your heart. It has its own geography map and everything. And this is also what can tell what we have authority over and what we don't. This is what happens when we try to build in places and in businesses and in territories that you don't have authority over it. You can get away with it for a while, but eventually it goes against nature and your will and the will of God. And this is what happens when we get away from our identity and who we are and what we came here to do. So again, the bridge and the rainbow children, this is about connecting you back to your true nature and what you came here for. It's a different type of middleman, but a middleman that is going to connect you to you and to our Creator, right? To your purpose here, instead of connecting you, being a connection to just build off of you, where you get nothing in return. There's a really big difference. I offer more information about identity reports and analysis on my website. And if you're interested in any of the oils that I offer, you can find those there also. And again, when it comes to the grids, just like the animals, connect to the grid. This is how dogs decide where they're going to go to the bathroom when they turn in circles. And have to find a specific spot, it's because they're connecting to the grid. These are grids that don't show on our current maps. And you have your own map and grid that is connected to your name and identity, and that connects you to the earth in its own way. This is why we are working better in some places than others. And again, this shows what we have authority over. But if we've been disconnected from our identity, and this happens in many ways when we experience soul fractures and soul loss and trauma. This can be from something like being cheated on or being in an accident or anything, any type of psychological or physical trauma or experience that threw us off our path, that broke apart our grid. This is how we can get thrown off. And it's happened to most people. And another one that I really love to talk about that is one of the most important that is seriously overlooked is when a woman gives birth to her child and the trauma, and a lot of why that is, as a lot of my work also in preparing the body for birth, so you don't have to go through such severe trauma and have that pain. If you are preparing your body, it can actually be a very enjoyable experience, and for some even orgasmic. So again, there's a lot of different ways that we get thrown off of our identity, and the other one I'm going to mention on here is by changing your name in marriage. But yeah, anything that can alter our identity can take us off path of our natural grid. So it's not like you had to have a severely traumatic life to be off of path. But again, that's why many rainbow children know so much about it, because they were born into places that their soul did not agree with and that were very harmful. This is about getting back on track and connecting you to your divine nature, who you really are beneath that body. The rainbow children are incredibly playful and childlike by nature. And this is why the Bible reminds us to come back to the state of consciousness where we were underneath and who we are underneath this costume right here. And it is before we took on all of these false limitations, these limiting beliefs that do not really exist in God's mind or eye or heart. They don't exist to God, or these fears, or these judgments of the world, judgments of other people, judgments of ourselves, or these fears to be ourselves, or fears that we're not going to be provided for, or a fear to take a creative risk. This is why we're called back into this state of consciousness, which is who you are before you took all of this on. This playfulness and this childlike state is what has gotten all of the rainbow children through such extremely, very difficult, very, very dark, tumultuous times, because they can see that this world is really nothing that it appears to be with our natural eye. And this is about also coming back into our imagination. We were not meant to create in misery. When you are in your identity and in your purpose, you actually do enjoy doing what you came here to do. Your will is aligned, and you are in your complete imagination where you are willing to expand in ways that we have not yet seen done before. When you take the imagination out of creation, you take God out of that also. So this is about coming back into that childlike state and seeing the world for all of the beauty that it really is. And speaking of beauty, I also do want to share that this morning, right when I got up, I started getting flooded, talk about the rainbow children today. And I got in the shower, I was getting dressed really quick, and I went to record, and it started raining outside. And I went and looked out the window. It's raining pretty hard. There's sun, so I'm like, there's going to be a rainbow on the day that I'm called to talk about the rainbow children. And then when I sat down to record, and I started talking, but I didn't hit record, and I said, Who are the rainbow children? And as soon as I said that, there was this huge blast of thunder outside, a huge blast, deep, 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 deep in the skies. So the thunder gods, the thunder, and the rainbow came in today and the rain to confirm this message as well. And I'm definitely going to check and see if there's a rainbow out there yet. But I did want to share that also, and I will catch you guys later.